good, everybody? It's your boy Utica, undeniably the illest cat around. Bros Talk MMA, post-fight recap. We just got done with UFC fight night at the Apex. Gabriel Bonfim gets the victory over Randy Brown. Second round, knee to the dome. Brown definitely was knocked at that point, hit the ground, woke back up, was ready to defend. Referee stepped in. He protested, the wave off of the fight. But yeah, I feel like, kind of like what the broadcast said, it was going to get worse before it got better. So it is what it is. I believe I went 8-4 on the night. So, not feeling too bad. Had some things cash on the other end. So that was nice too. So we're looking in good shape, folks, heading into the rest of the weekend. But yeah, I guess, let's start things off. We had a fight to start the night off. We had Jackson McVeigh going up against super, super short notice replacement Zach Reese. It was looking good for McVeigh early on, man. McVeigh was tagging Reese, was getting these nice short elbows, was getting him in the clinch. It was looking real nice for McVeigh. But second round came, and I'm not gonna say necessarily they gassed, but they definitely just, I don't know, they let Reese back into the fight. And then Reese what happened was is at the end of the first round, Reese was able to get him to the ground and definitely show an advantage there. So, McVeigh, he was doing his thing to begin the second round, getting that clinch initiated again. And then Reese got him to the ground again and then just took over from there. And eventually got him the fuck out of there. I don't think you could have gotten me to pick Reese just given the time frame that he was on. And like I said, early on in the fight, it was looking bad for him. McVeigh cut him up real nice. Like, any longer in that first round, and McVeigh could have possibly got him out of there. But then again, maybe not, because like I said, towards the end of that first round, Reese started to come on strong. So, kudos to Zach Reese in that one. Next fight, we have Miles Johns going up against Daniel Marcos. In this one, Johns was coming on strong. In the first round, he was looking good. Marcos looked a little slow, a little just kind of like still figuring out what he was going to do. And then second round, third round, he started. Actually, I want to say he ended up putting Johns to sleep, and I think maybe that was the third round. I'm not too for sure, but he ended up submitting Johns because Johns just he started to fade, and that's kind of the thing with him. He's going to come out strong in those early rounds, but once you get past that second half of the second round and then start entering the third, he starts to look a little shaky. And that's what happened. And also, I think that they just didn't account for Marcos to take such a heavy grappling game plan. I think they were ready for a stand-up matchup. And Marcos kept initiating the grappling to a point where he started to gain the advantage there. And then John started to gas out and eventually gave up his neck and got choked out. Next fight after that, we got Tisha Pennington going up against Denise Gomes. Basically how I expected that fight to go. I want to say that there was less of that, Tisha Torres just friggin' uh what do you call that shit? Just like flash flurry that she likes to throw. She just comes in throwing punches and whatever happens on the other end happens. She wasn't really doing that. She was a lot more felt like measured with her approach. Gomes measured with their approach as well, but definitely was trying to land the bigger, more impactful shots. Cesar Marin in the chat, what's going down, my guy? We had to do the recap one time. You know what I'm saying? Shit. But yeah, So that's how that fight went. Pretty much how I expected it to go with Gomes and Pennington. Josh Hokett versus Gimenez, I would say same type of thing. I feel like, UFC should definitely give Gimenez one more though against somebody a little, you know, little on the lower end of the heavyweight circuit. Give him like a fucking shit, I don't know, Usman, Muhammad Usman. Give him somebody like that. I think that he has something to offer. I'm not saying he gave Hokett like crazy trouble at the beginning, but he definitely showed that he was there to fight. But then Hokett came, just took over, did his thing, did his WWE fucking shtick at the end. So it was what it was. Looking forward, I guess, to seeing him down the road, but that fight pretty much went the way I expected. Um, yeah, you know, I feel you, Cesar. He fought his fight, but he has a ceiling. I'd say the same thing. Like it's nothing to write home about, but he did get the job done tonight. Let's see. We got Myra Buena Silva going up against Jacqueline Calvacante. This fight went this exact same way. Something I didn't mention that I've mentioned in shows prior, especially in specific to Myra Buena Silva, is she got a lot going on upstairs, y'all. And now that's putting it lightly, and she's even voiced that, in the past. Shit, she even actually had a fight get called a no contest and she had a victory overturned because she tested positive for like Ritalin or something like that. And it's because she has ADHD. Like she's came out and said, that I got that. And so, that was the only reason I had that in my system. But other than that, like I wasn't looking for an edge or anything. But ever since then, I've noticed when they did her championship fight against Raquel Pennington, she just, you came to learn that she battles with a lot of stuff outside of the cage. I'm not saying like she's this mental case outside of the cage. It's just that like literally like she, has a lot of things that got to be coached through on top of her actual, training being a fighter. And you could see it with her walking to the cage. Like she looked distracted by everything going on around her, and like it seemed like the only thing that was keeping her grounded or centered was her intro song. So like she's looking around the cage, looking very like almost just like not confused, but she just looked fucking like she was put off by all, the Apex, not maybe not necessarily Apex vibe, but just everything that comes with the UFC aesthetic. So like she's looking around like literally her eyes are like this. She almost looks like it's too bright for her, all this shit. But the only thing she's doing is she's singing her song, and you can tell that that's like keeping her in the zone for whatever. She gets in the cage, and yeah, this fight played out exactly how I thought. I think Calvacanti could have put her foot on the gas a little bit more. There were times where she was flowing, but then I think she was just too scared of potentially giving Buena Silva an in for their grappling, that she just truly just she was fighting more so to not lose than she was to win, but she still was able to pull it out. So, salute to Calvacanti. But yeah, that fight went pretty much the way I expected. Myra Buena Silva does not have hands. And if she's not able to get her grappling going, then she really just doesn't have too much to offer. Let's see. My guy said, I told you, bro, those 5 no finishes got me paid. I truly appreciate y'all's insight and fight knowledge. It's cool to talk fights with dudes who know fights. Y'all fellas legit. My man, Cesar Marin, that means a lot. And that is like, I can't even tell you, like, that is truly the essence of Bros Talk MMA. Is it should feel like you're shooting the shit about your favorite sport with, the homies, and we're not gonna sit there, it has a little bit of first take, essence to it, but not really, because we're not sitting here breaking down numbers all like, you know, analytically and shit. We'll break down what we know, and we will relay the information, according to just like what we know. So, I mean, we're never going to sit here and, start, getting too crazy into the numbers, nor are we just going to sit here and fucking freestyle either. So I really appreciate that. Appreciate you for being, a long time viewer and supporter. And yeah, definitely glad that you got paid tonight. I think this was a good card. I think everybody got, paid pretty well. So shouts out to you. Um, Next fight we had Hyder Mill going up against Jamal Emmers. I think it may have got switched around. We may have had CLD versus Marco Tulio, but I'm just do Hyder Mill versus fucking Jamal Emmers. Uh, that fight, Emil, he came out, he was ready to fight. He was giving Emmers a run for his money. You could tell, like after the first round, at the pace they were going, Emmers was definitely, he was a little bit tired coming out in that second round, but he was able to slow the pace down of Emil and kind of use that aggression against them. Started working in this grappling game, uh, went into it fully in the third round, and eventually I think he was able to get fucking Emil up out of there. And yeah, so I mean, salute to Jamal Emmers. That fight didn't, I picked him for the win. It didn't necessarily go the way I expected it to, but he got it done. He definitely used his length to his advantage. And yeah, good job, good on Jamal Emmers. Um Christian Leroy Duncan versus Marco Tulio. Whoo, bro. I truly do not understand how CLD closed as a fucking underdog. And I'm telling you right now, depending on who they match him up with, this is the last time you'll probably see him as an underdog for a while until he really starts stepping up into the ranks. CLD, he's gonna be a problem, man, because he already has the striking, and not only just the striking, but really dangerous, versatile striking. But on top of that, he's taken his licks at the MMA level, and literally went back to the drawing board. Some people say, we went back to the drawing board, and really they just went and didn't really work on nothing. This dude, you can tell he felt how it felt to be fucking wrestled and manhandled and basically like neutralized. And he was like, never again. And ever since then, you can just see it. His grappling and everything is it, whether it's the takedown defense, and even tonight he even showed some offense. He's getting better and better. I feel like he still has some time to make, a significant run of some sort. And yeah, he looked really good tonight, and he was a problem. Like, he was a real problem. And a big ass man like that moving around, already just like throwing you all these looks on the feet, and is also able to hold his own grappling. Like, he's definitely going to be a problem. So salute to CLD in that one. Uh Ricky Simone versus Ione Barcelos. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you could have gotten me to change my mind on this one. But this was like a classic Ricky Simone performance that has made me not want to pick him in the past. Barcelos, he's just, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's making a resurgence. He's beating these young guys, and he's looking good while doing it. He was definitely landing the harder shots. He was dogging it out like he always does. Wasn't, what never really showed any signs of, taking his foot off the pedal. um you know there were flashes from Simone every now and again, but for the most part he just couldn't really get it going. And I think he was just getting caught off guard by how effective Barcelos was. And, don't let that salt and pepper on his head fucking fool you. That fool comes to fucking fight and he throws fucking lead. You know, he's fucking throwing. So yeah, shouts out to Barcelos on a, I want to say like a 3-4 fight win streak right now against, you know, really good competition. And, you know, he doesn't look like he's letting up anytime soon. Moving on, we have Chris Padilla going up against Ishmael Bonfim. Another one where I'm not too sure why Padilla was an underdog to begin, but then the money started shifting in on him, especially after the weigh-in. I believe a lot of people seen some bad body language from Bonfim that led to those odds shifting. Luckily not, you know, flagging anything or, you know, raising any concerns. But yeah, so Padilla did close as a favorite. And, you know, Bomb Theme, he throws fucking like he throws and he comes to fight too. And he definitely could have put Padilla on his pockets, but Padilla's just he shelled up real nice. He was just like this the entire time. You know, being real efficient with his output, wasn't doing too much. You know, kind of just like I said, let Bonfim use his he used Bonfim's aggression against him, chewing up his legs, fucking eventually started, you know, closing that distance, getting in close, getting Bonfim up against the cage, started, you know, he was literally sharpening his elbows in his intro. And then he started fucking putting those on him. And yeah, you know, Bonfim, there was something wrong with him. There was something about him. No, don't get me wrong, his cardio is an issue. And like I said, he's sometimes overly aggressive and puts himself out to be fucked up. But in this one, I think he was compromised in some sort of fashion and it eventually caught up. And then he just, you know, basically broke in the second round. Padilla took over, you know. So shouts out Chris Taco Padilla. We got Muslim Salikov going up against Euros Medic, man. And this is the one where I'm like, you know what? I probably should have picked Medic. You know, like first off, Medic comes to fucking, you know, to fight. He's not trying to stay there for a long time. And you know, he has a bunch of first round finishes. I knew he was going to be the faster of the two, but I just thought he would be a little overly aggressive and Salikov would just pick his shot and be more, you know, precise with his attack. Salikov never really got to get it started. Medic was on him from fucking, you know, as soon as they said fight, and then eventually just landed a nasty straight and put Salikov on his pockets, and Salikov freaking literally shelled up. I think he made one attempt to try and like, you know, get back to like his feet or whatever, and then he got cracked again, and then he just shelled up on the ground, and that was a wrap. So looking back, I'm like, maybe I could have picked Medic, you know, but it is what it is. If I didn't, then it would have been, you know, some nasty head kick or sick punch to the grill that would have just dropped Medic. So it is what it is. Um, let's see. Then after that, we had the co-main event of the evening. We had, and once again, don't know why this was the co-main event of the evening. I mean, it ended with the finish, all great, you know, good for Schnell, Morales, but with the amount of finishes we had and some of the other names we had on this card, I still just don't understand why this was the co-main event. But nonetheless, Matt Schnell versus Joseph Morales, pretty much how I expected it to go. Morales was going to come in there, figure out where he could find the advantage, and then lean into that and make it happen. Schnell usually doesn't like going to the cards, whether it's him winning or getting finished, and immediately put himself in danger, initiated the grappling, which I was like, bruh, that I said in my breakdown, like he needs to keep this standing and just point fight. Just touch this dude and don't put yourself in danger, you know, more so than you already gonna be because you're chinny, let alone, you know, going into his wheelhouse on the ground where, don't get me wrong, Schnell has skills, but he's looking the part of an old guard, and this fight definitely proved, you know, that he, you know, is pass on the torch. Like he came out of he retired, came out of retirement, got a win, felt rejuvenated, and then came back here and lost again. So who knows what the future holds for Matt Schnell, but definitely isn't elite competition anymore, at that weight class, unfortunately. But shouts out to Morales for basically doing what he's supposed to do. I want to say that in some sort of way, the UFC, especially with him being a Ultimate Fighter winner, the UFC does kind of put something behind him a little bit, and so like, they gave him a co-main event and he, proved why he deserved that spot, and made it happen. So shouts out to Joseph Morales. On to the main event. We had Gabriel Bonfim going up against Randy Brown. Uh yeah, Bonfim actually, he definitely made up for his last outing where he definitely snuck away with one against Wonder Boy. In this fight, he came out and didn't even try to grapple with Randy Brown. He was just throwing fucking leg kicks for days. He just ate up his front leg. And then eventually him and Brown, and Brown was moving. Brown was moving. He was throwing but nothing too crazy. Definitely had to give like that first round to Bonfim just based upon the amount of leg kicks he threw. But I also felt like, Randy Brown was just, filling him out. Like, here, you can have basically these first two rounds because once we enter the third, now you got to start fighting. So I feel like that was the game plan, but eventually they got caught in the clinch and Bonfim was able to land a knee. And yeah, I mean, Randy Brown was out. He hit the ground, was in a position to defend himself. But I'm not sure if it would have went much better for him from there. I think Bonfim would have been able to finish him off from there. But, you never know. But I'm not going to – the ref stepped in. I'm not going to give him any shit for stepping in. He did what he needed to do because homeboy literally was stiff, falling backwards. So, I mean, I think Bonfim was going to go get the job done from there. Had Brown survived, maybe, then he could have got his feet back up under him and then came back on strong in the last three rounds. We'll never know. But, that was the card. I went 8-4 on the night. I believe Ray Bucks went 5-3, and he told me he believes Darren Teed went 6-6. So, hey, decent night for the bros. We got Rick Allen in the chat. He said Makachev Club and sub incoming. You think, bro? Man, that's gonna be a great fight. I'm really excited to break that one down next week. I think that this is, I mean, actually, I'm very intrigued by this fight. Makachev's either gonna come in there, steamroll this fool, and choke him out, or he's gonna try and strike with Della Maddalena, and Maddalena's gonna start tagging him the fuck up. And don't get me wrong, Makachev's gonna he's gonna hold his own for a little bit, but there's gonna come a time where he's like, all right, we gotta fucking go to what we know, get this motherfucker the fuck out of here, because he's tagging us up, you know. Because truly, if Makachev gets the best of Maddalena on the feet, bruh, oh man, like I don't think you'll ever see Maddalena getting a title shot again. Let's see here. Nah, bro, gonna be a club and sub for Makachev. It's not that hard. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Makachev. I think that's sometimes the thing too is guys are so hung up on his grappling that they don't give him enough credit with the hands, and so then he comes in and he surprises fools with the hands. I just think in terms of giving your opponent less routes to victory, Makachev needs to go in there and just fucking choke this fool the fuck out, bulldoze him, choke him out. And Maddalena, he just needs to try and keep this on the feet for as long as he possibly can because his only route to victory is on the feet. So, shouts out Rick Allen in the chat. They don't train ground game in Australia. Jack is one side. No, real shit. What is that's that clip Makachev brother, Australia have no wrestling. So believe you me, bruh, like I'll most likely be picking Makachev, but in terms of bets, I might sprinkle a little something on Madalena just for the sake of it. But more than likely my pick is gonna be with Makachev just because his grappling is so strong, and I'm sure he's levels above Bilal Muhammad. So, you know, yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight next week. Once again, want to send a quick shout out to Whiskey Bar Denver. They opened their doors to us recently, let us shoot our 80th episode of the podcast, and we're looking forward to that being a place for us to set up shop going forward. So definitely to any of our viewers who are in the Denver area, make sure during fight weeks, we're shooting for Thursdays at 7 p.m. Come down to the Whiskey Bar Denver and come catch a live taping of the show. Have a drink with us, maybe a cigar. We have a couple of venues that we can work with now at this point. Fostering this new relationship with Whiskey Bar. So yeah, shouts out to them. And let's see what we got. Maybe Makachev gonna straighten Jack's nose for him finally. He needs surgery on that. Jack's nose looks crazy. I think that's like a part of his brand. I don't know if he'll ever fix his face up. I think that that's what his whole thing is, just grizzled fucking fighter, just my everything you need to know about me is on my face type of dude. So fucking uh I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, man, what else do I want to say? So yeah, shouts out to my bro hosts, Ray Bucks, guaranteed. Make sure that y'all catch us next week. We'll be covering the pay-per-view Makachev versus Dalla Maddalena. Also, the ladies co-headline Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang. That's gonna be fucking super dope. And hey, we made it through this week without any crazy allegations or fight throwing scandals or anything like that. I feel like maybe the odd shift on the Padilla fight may have raised some eyebrows, but when you really break it down, it was because of how Bonfim looked on the scale and everything like that, wincing and stuff, and then missing weight prior to that. So there was something afoot there, which isn't anything new. Fighters fucking mask injuries all the time going into fights. And that was a topic of discussion. That's somewhat of a fixed fight, but at least it's like something that like it just is what it is almost. But when you have a dude going in there really actually throwing fights, like that's it did make watching this card a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was, especially like the McVeigh fight starting right out, and shit is just kind of like that was weird. But I think it was just recency bias, just paranoia, all that good shit. But truly, I think this fight card was a lot cleaner. Hopefully, that was just a one-off, and we don't have to start feeling weird about these fight cards going into them and all that stuff, and what's really going on. But yeah, make sure that you like this stream. Make sure that you comment. Make sure that you share the channel with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. You can follow us at Bros Talk MMA on Instagram and TikTok. You can follow me at Utica, UTICA underscore SME, on both those platforms as well. And yeah, if you want to support the channel, if you want to donate to the channel, check out our Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Shouts out to everybody that's donated and supported the channel. If you want to get picks early, you can become a member, and you can get our picks prior to us posting them in the tracker and prior to fight nights. But yeah, outside of that, this has been another, episode or recap from your boy Utica, undeniably the illest cat around, aka Mr. Make This Pick Real Quick. Uh Also, Mr. Friggin', I think I hit my base parlay. I want to say I hit the Gomes, Calvacanti, Morales 3-pick base parlay. So we did try to spice it up with Randy Brown. That didn't go our way, but we did hit the base 3. So you can also call me Mr. 3-pick parlay, Mr. Back-to-back cash parlay in dude, whatever you want to call me. But shouts out to my bro host extraordinaires, Ray Bucks, Darren Teed, Bros Talk MMA. Until the next time, folks, we out.